Hello out there, this is your host ElectroSkeptic, scouring the internet for kernels of truth within the underbelly of humanity. I came across this video on Facebook, of all mediums, that addresses what's commonly known in the red pill, blue pill manosphere as intersexual dynamics. And this one really plays out well with the narrative that of reality, really. And this video comes from a content creator, or rather video creator, with a page on Facebook called Based on True Stories. And the title of this video, which is taken from real life stories, and he essentially narrates and creates video animation of the story. But this one is, "My wife betrayed me with another married man." And the reason that this video really works well with the red pill, blue pill, beta male, alpha male dynamic is that it plays exactly to the conditioning that creates a beta male or an alpha male. In this case, this guy is obviously what we call a beta male. He's somebody who's done the right thing his whole life, and he's most likely a very good husband and a father. And what's happened, which is what is happening more and more to most men and most marriages, and that is the wife gets bored, she starts having an affair, and you're left with a situation where he's going to go to the family court, and the judge is going to preside over in favor of the woman. And this happens the majority of the time, and it's been happening for the last 50 years. So this isn't something where you can even be partial in analyzing it, because it's the way it's been happening for a long time now. So in this video, and I recommend that if you have a Facebook account, that you look up this page and then find the video. It's pretty easy to find. Just type in "my wife betrayed me with another married man" once you find the page, or even just scan to it. But what happens in the story is that this beta male, this guy who's done all the right things, who finds himself on the receiving end of a cheating wife, takes revenge. And how he does it is through the legal system. And I'm guessing where he learned this was probably his mother, a divorcee most likely. And that's how a lot of men have been raised over the last 40-50 years, is in a single mother household. So they've seen these actions and these dynamics played out, where they are the gamemanship, where in the courts is where you can make the difference in the outcome. You play the game in a way that it's going to favor you. And this video, the way it plays out in the narration, is that he used legal wrangling to put himself in a position to, when he was finally confronted his wife with the affair, he had video documentation and other forms of proof that he used as a threat, just like women have often used the police and court orders as threats against men, all done through legal channels to manipulate the outcome of the divorce. And in this particular case, he came out, looks like, on the winning end of it, and she did not. And this is by no means the way it usually happens. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much a cliche now that you have the divorcee dad who lives in a one-bedroom studio apartment, who pays 60, 70, 80% of his income in alimony and child support to his ex-spouse. Now, the child support will end when the children turn 18 sometimes, but for the most part, if he gets saddled with alimony, that is going to go on for the rest of his life. To someone he doesn't even know anymore, he's going to be paying alimony to. And that is becoming less of a common thing, but it certainly has been held over men's head for a long time now. So I guess when you read into this, you start to see that the old masculine male that would fall on the sword, well, he's becoming a bit of a relic now. The generations, really starting with the Gen Xers, and followed by the millennials and the generations now, Gen Y, Gen Z, they grew up in a different atmosphere. They grew up in the divorce epidemic. They lived through it. They saw what happened to their fathers. They know the game. And they're learning what to do from their single mothers, that raised them, how they operated. They learned that, the beta males. And really, we have a dynamic, and a lot of red pill gurus like Rollo Tomasi have really expounded on this in great detail. I know I've followed Rollo for more than 10 years now, but with the alpha male and beta male dynamic, you've got the alpha male who is going to be there for the ladies in their 20s. The beta male is plugging away in his 20s. He's in school. He's building himself up for a career. And when his time comes in his 30s, he's going to find women who were at their peak in their early 20s. And they're at a point, the ladies, where they want to settle down, have a family, and that is where the beta male comes in. He's set, he's established, he's got his stuff together, and he can provide for a family. But the problem with this dynamic is he is not the alpha male. He is not the one that she desires the most. He is there to provide financially. So when they move into this period of marriage, 5, 6, 7 years in, they have the kids, she becomes bored. She's looking back to her early 20s when she was the alpha female, a young, attractive woman. She had it all. And she looks back to a time that is past. And through technology, social media and whatnot, that ability to reach out and re-explore those years are there for her. So for the beta male, he has found what he was looking for when he found her. He had his wife and his family. And once the affairs and the cheating, once that begins, he has lost his whole world. And if you read or listen in on this story where this guy explains it, he reaches a point of depression, essentially, where he begins drinking and losing himself in that relationship, trying to fix it any way he can. And it's just not going to happen because he was never that guy that she really, truly desired. And the difference here is that it looks like he realizes it, that this marriage is over. And he begins positioning himself to be in the better outcome and not falling on the sword like the previous generations of men. He begins proactively using technology to record elements of the affair, which he later uses as a threat to send her family, his ex-wife's family, an exposer for the affair, thus getting the upper hand when it comes time for the divorce and the division of assets and whatnot, and most especially the children. He immediately sought custody in using that information he had as leverage for that. And that is the very cunning kind of things that women have done, where they've used the courts and trumped up charges and false domestic violence accusations to get the house, the kids, the cars, the retirements. And the man, he goes on his own way. He gets to see his kids every other weekend, and if he's lucky, maybe one night a week. And that's the way it's played out for the last we're 40, 50 years of this now. So what these beta males, what they're learning is that you can beat the system, but you gotta play the system. And that's what they know that prior generations of men didn't know. So what comes from this is that a beta male, he is not second place anymore. He's coming up. He may not be the first choice, whereas I think it's commonly said that women will choose the top 20% of men, and that's been proven statistically with online dating applications. But in the end, these alpha males, they will age, and they will also become beta males, second place, not first choice. And these alpha males, well, they're being raised in single mother households as well. So it comes down to an almost Darwinian fight for survival. And what these men are doing are what other men are going to have to learn to adapt to as well, if you want to make it, or if you want to be buried under a legal system that really expects you to lose, to be the one that's thrown out of the house, have his kids taken away from him, and most of his savings and future finances as well. So what stories like these and many, many other that just keep coming up every day seem to prove is that marriage is just not really worth it for men anymore. It is not. I wouldn't recommend it to any man. I've been through it twice, and I couldn't recommend it. And looking into the future, I don't see it getting any better unless what men in this example are doing is going to have an impact on the whole institution of marriage. It's not going to look like it has, or it's not going to happen, because the men, they're dropping out. The whole phenomenon of MGTOW is growing exponentially, and dare I say, it's becoming almost a humiliating thing to announce that you're getting married as a male, because it comes with that same cliche, that you are a beta that is willingly going to be taken to the cleaners. You know the risks at this point in time. There's no more ambiguities around it because it's there in our face every day. Just take a look at the humiliating positions that the media puts men in commercials and movies and television shows that's been running now for a long time, where a married man, well, he's kind of a buffoon because he needs that strong wife of his to, run the show, to do everything. And I don't know about you, but as a man, that doesn't sound very appealing to me, to go back into that, because I know what it's like, and I know the way it's portrayed in the media. So it's not something that men are, by and large, are looking forward to anymore. I mean, it was never a great deal for men, ever, because you had a burden of performance to live up to. You were taking on the responsibility of not only yourself but a family. And is that a rewarding thing? You could argue that it was, but today, to take on that responsibility, even in a two-income household, the man generally earns more than a woman on average, although that is changing greatly, which affects things in a different way that I could go on here for hours, where and it's becoming more known in the media that men are becoming less appealing because of this reason, a woman a higher income earner. So all these things, they add up to marriage not being a good idea. And if you're going to do it, well, you're going to have to adopt this kind of cunning tactics. It means you're going to have to employ things that typically is not a masculine role. To be stealthy and cunning, I mean, those are traditional values that are associated with women. But what I thought was most interesting in all this, and how it relates to reality, digging for the truth here, was that this is the real world that we live in, not the one that's portrayed in the Hollywood and media. This is the kind of world that you're going to be dealing with if you choose to get married, as a man, as a woman as well. I mean, that tit for tat kind of drama and tension that started really at the onset, or I should say the growth of feminism in the late 1960s, was the catalyst for all this. It's why we are where we are at today. And whether you want to accept it or not, well, it comes back to the old snake oil salesman. And that's what the media has been pushing. That, you can live that early 20th century, late 19th century Victorian married life in this day and age, and you can't. It doesn't exist anymore, at least not for the majority of people. I know that there are exceptions out there, but they don't make up the majority by far. As a matter of fact, they make up a slim majority when you look at divorce statistics and the rates. 50% the first time, was it 70%, 75% for the second, and upwards of 80-85% on third marriages, and it just keeps getting worse from there. So that's the world we live in. And to kind of wrap this up quickly, I recommend going and watching that video if you get a chance. I didn't want to post it. It would lead to copyright issues, so I just kind of paraphrase what I saw and make some comments and kind of have it deal with the old snake oil. Shed some light on the hucksters trying to sell the idea of an idyllic marriage, because those people are snake oil salesmen. The wedding planners and, dare I say, the religious institutions that are still pushing marriage, the traditional conservatives, because it's not how it works. We got to deal with reality. So if you believe that I'm wrong in any way on this, by all means, leave a comment and let me know what you believe on it. But that's all I've got for now. ElectroSkeptic signing out.